Hello guys, hola, bonsoir, ¿cómo estás? Thank you for joining me. Gracias, amasaganalo, merci beaucoup. And we're gonna get into it. Welcome to Healthcare Boulevard. How about that? I'm skipping right to it. Um, Welcome to Healthcare Boulevard. Again, I am your host and creator here, Sena Kakpomo, and this is gonna be a short episode. I know I have a curriculum or path or whatever that I'm following, and every now and then something like this is gonna come to my mind, and I just will want to get on the mic and share this with you. And that is, try not to get stuck with the path you've chosen, right? If the path you've chosen really is the only thing you see yourself doing, then go ahead, do it, get it done. I believe in you, we all believe in you, you will get it done however long it takes. But I've noticed a lot of us just want to practice medicine. A lot of us just want to practice medicine. We just want to care for other folks. We just want to be able to be in a position where we are part of somebody being healthy. And I know that's no exception for me. And sometimes when the dreams we have as a child, because it's like, oh, what do you want to know? What do you want to do when you grow up? Or who do you want to be when you grow up? And we all have these things, these responses that sometimes can be as true as they are when you were 6, as when you were 60. But sometimes that's not the case. And I, for one, is one of those examples where, when I tell you, when somebody asked me when I wanted to become when I was a child, I was like, I don't know, amigo. No, je ne sais pas. Like, I don't know. Because I was, I really just knew what I didn't want to do. Which, looking back, I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't choose. Homegirl went from I want to become a singer to I want to become a doctor. Honestly, those are my two options. I think the singer thing is just a hobby. To this day, I like singing just for the fun of it. But then as life goes on and I moved to the States, if you don't know yet, I'm from West Africa. I'm from Benin Republic, and I moved here in my teenage years, and so, that it moved like that as a teenager, and different environment, different household, a lot of things. It sort of shifts your gear a little bit. You're having to learn a new language at that age while still studying and all that shenanigans. But I won't get into that. The point I'm trying to get at is, don't try to, if it's reevaluate what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. So I wanted to become a doctor. Then the plan was to go to nursing school, then use nursing BSN, which is a bachelor's degree, to get into medical school, which some have done. Some have intended to do it and didn't continue because they found something else along the line. Some have just stayed as an RN, or some went from RN to NP, or even RN to some other master's level or doctorate level healthcare professional, or no healthcare professional at all. And the reason I'm saying that is, I was talking to one of my friends from Montgomery Community College. So I went from high school to community college, and while I was in community college, I was applying to nursing school there. 2 rounds of nursing school applications while I was qualified, and didn't get in. At that time, I had all my prerequisites set, and it was essentially a life altering. Looking back now, it wasn't that big of a deal because I'm here where I am right now. But at the time, it was such a life altering event, because I really did find myself in a position where I really didn't know where to go from there, and because I've just imagined nursing. I had a path, and I was sticking to it to that point. It was going great up until that point. And at that point in my life, I had not learned to keep my plans flexible. And that was the moment for me where I learned the art and benefit of flexibility in your plan. Because I realized, looking back, after I went through everything, I realized, man, that really got to me in a way that it shouldn't have. It's a profession, and at the time it means everything, because all the expectations, mostly from myself, but also from the environment and all these other things. It's almost, you find yourself being like, yo, I don't fail. And how can you fail at life when you're only 20 something? It's like, come on, bro. you know? But luckily, because of perspective and because of some guidance, I was able to overcome that, find a new path. So I ended up going to university, transferring, instead of just sitting there and applying for nursing schools however long until one of them accept me. I took my prerequisites, went to University of Maryland, actually. So if you're a TERP, shout out to you. And got my bachelor's in public health. I tell you, up until my rejection from nursing school, when when I was like, oh my gosh, life is not worth living. Up until that point, I've never heard of public health as a profession. I've never even heard of the words public health. Luckily, my mentor at the time guided me and just sort of like, check this out, because it seems to me you want to be in healthcare. It seems to me you just want to be in health, and this path seems to not working out. If you want to keep doing this, definitely that's fine. But I had to explain to her that I really just I just wanted options as to how to move on, as to where to go from there. That's where I wanted. I wasn't stuck to the path anymore. I still was, but I've gotten the essentially, I was still devastated from the path not working, but the greater problem was my inability to see forward, my inability to see a path forward. And so she suggested that. I looked it up, and it fulfilled the prerequisites are much similar to the ones for nursing, because another thing at the time is I didn't want to start all over. So I went ahead and did my bachelor's degree. I was only one semester late, so I graduated only a semester late than as projected. And while I was in the same time, I heard about public health. I heard about physician assistant. Excuse me. And so I started looking up, doing research, talking to people, figuring out what this profession is and how to become it. I learned it's a master's degree for which I need a bachelor's degree, which, okay, to me that sounds perfect, because, well, I'm already have a path to get a bachelor's degree. And so I figured, well, that will be great. And I can just get my bachelor's degree, then use that to get into PA school and so forth. And essentially, that's the path I followed. But when I tell you, I enjoyed public health. I legit considered master's in public health. And to this day, I wouldn't be surprised if I end up using my bachelor's down the line in combination with my PA degree, just because I got to learn the importance of social aspects in health. I got to learn the importance of environment on health. I learned so much more about health than I thought I needed to know, and I really opened my mind and my eyes and my professional heart to where I am today, and how I see things today, and the type of provider I will be and have been for the years I was a CNA and so forth. And so the point here, and I'm going to reiterate again, is if practicing medicine, if being in healthcare, if just being in health, because healthcare is like muscle clinic, right? Doctors, PAs, nurses, OT, PT, pharmacists. But if health in general is what you're passionate about, or what you see yourself doing or want to do, there's so many options. And don't feel like the path you trace for yourself when you were a teenager or even a young adult isn't necessarily the path you had to go down. You may choose to not go down that path, not because it wasn't working out like it was in my case. In my case, my failure ended up being my a positive thing, right? But it doesn't have to be a failure or a traumatic event that gets you to see different options. And so I want to end with this. I recently, till today, reached out to one of my friends from MC. I think I started that story in via of somewhere else. So I reconnected with my friend, and he's a pharmacist now. He's been a pharmacist for I think 4 years or something. And it was so interesting because though I was decently close to him back then, we in the 15 minutes or 20 minutes we talked, I learned a lot more about his path than I had known, or maybe I forgot, I don't know, because in the similarities, he too wanted to go into nursing, he too wanted to do MD. Today he's a pharmacist because somebody, advised him when he was at a different place in his life, and he hadn't really known about pharmacists or how to become one. So he went actually straight from community college to pharmacy school, which is a path that is very for pharmacy school, at least at the time, I don't know, a lot of the professions evolve. And when we have him on, and when I do the research on that, I will better be in a position to give you that information. But I shared that story with you, and you get a chance to, hopefully you will get a chance to hear from him and learn more about from his path. And just like me, he faced some friction by changing his plans from some of the closest folks to him. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing, is when you have a path and it's going great, everybody's like applauding you. And then once that path, for some reason you have a friction or what have you, and you change that path for whatever reason, it can be hard to get people on board. It can be hard to get the same respect and the same faith people had in you when you were on a different path. And so it really got to be up to you, and be like, you had to be honest with yourself and decide for yourself, look, this is the path that's going on, this is the path I've chosen now. And if that changes down the line 2-3 years from now, that's okay, but now this is what it is, and I have my reasons for choosing this new path, and you just got to advocate for yourself. So I'll end it there. I'll put this in the random files of things on YouTube, and I think I'm going to find a different system for organizing my podcast, because I realized, because I studied on YouTube, I was going to do the playlist, and I'm still doing that. But with the podcast, I don't necessarily have that option of doing playlists for the audios I upload. So I think I'll have a different naming system so that it's easier to know what the audio is. So to choose, what you're interested in and what you want to listen to. But this is part of the random, advice from a young old lady who's been through 1 or 2 things before. Just 1 or 2, not too many. And what I've learned from that journey. And it's not just me. I really enjoyed seeing the similarities and parallels in the folks that surround me, and how the stories are similar or differ, and just getting to learn the lessons from that all over again. And I wanted to share that lesson with you. So that is it. Again, the lesson here is, or the advice here is, if the path you've chosen seems to have too much friction, it's okay to reevaluate your reason for being on the path and redirect your path if it's appropriate. But just be ready that you may face some friction from your surrounding, and you have to be okay with that. And you have to be okay to just steer on, and then once they see the result, you'll be another example for folks who might end up being in that situation. I'll end it here and say thank you for joining me. I know this is not particularly about any profession, but again, this is Healthcare Boulevard, and I think this is a very useful advice for anybody in healthcare or in career in general. Yeah, I'll end it there and say thank you for joining me. This has been a pleasure once again. I will see y'all next week, or next time I should say, and we'll do it like that. Alright, if you're listening to this, please share, subscribe, comment, follow, and feel free again to reach out for any reason. And this is again your host, Capomore. I'll see you next time. Au revoir, adios, peace out.